Hey LA10 folks, welcome to today's screencast on how to take notes. Here's why we're talking about this. I noticed that last semester I asked you guys to watch a lot of screencasts, and then in my conversations with you, I would ask you to go back into your notes, and too many of you said, oh, well, we didn't actually take notes on those screencasts, or we took notes, but the information that we need isn't really in our notes. So I thought about that over break, and what I've come to realize is that I think that you guys need a little bit more motivation to write high quality notes. So instead of weekend quizzes, I am instead this semester going to ask you to submit your notes for points. Now, those are going to be qualitative points, meaning I'm going to be assessing the quality of your notes. And since I'm going to be doing that, I want to provide you guys with an opportunity to teach you what kinds of notes I want you to take, how I want them to look, what I want you to include, so that you have a clear understanding of what notes are going to look like this semester, so that you can earn all of those points on your notes. Before we launch into how to take your notes, there are a couple things that I need you guys to know are going to occur in every form of notes that you take, no matter what. You're going to have to put your name on your notes. You're going to have to label your notes. So I want the title of the screencast, or what topic we're studying, or something like that. And then I want the date of the notes. So that all the time, consistently. In addition to that stuff, I'm also going to ask that anytime I talk about examples in a screencast, I'm going to ask that you write those examples down on your notes and then highlight them or put a star next to them so that I can see clearly that you have written down all the examples. Studies show that the more examples you put in your notes, the more clearer the notes are to you as time goes by, so that as you're continuing to study those notes, they'll just make more sense to you that way. And now I want to launch into a couple of different ways that you guys can take notes, and I'm going to show you some visuals that go along with those. So this first example is just buying a spiral notebook and create sections in your notebook. So I would want a section for grammar, a section for writing, and then a section for like literary devices or literary analysis, something like that. And then you can just write your notes in those spiral notebooks. So for example, here's what I wrote for spring semester. This is going to be week 1, and it's a reorientation in digital literacy. Here's day 1 of digital literacy, and here's day 2 of digital literacy. I put that at the top of my notes just as an overview of what my notes are going to contain. And then I write day 1. Now I will want you guys to write actual dates here. And then if you look, the topic is fact-checking, and I give myself ideas of what is included in that fact-checking screencast. And then here I say, oh, this is where they tell me to ask some questions. So 1, 2, and 3 are what they tell me to look for. And so this is kind of the most important part of that fact-checking screencast. And so I identify that with the numbers. You'll also notice that I am creating a pseudo outlining format. It's not exact, but it does show the relationship between the title and then these kind of facts and then these subordinating questions. So once I'm done with fact checking, the next video is going to be on lateral reading, and you'll notice that I take notes on all of that. And then I just want to show you, over the course of the next 2 days, you are going to be asked to watch these 8 videos right here. And I want to show you how many notes I took on that, and I'm going to expect you to have taken about the same number of notes. So here's day 1, my first video, my second video, my third video, and then I go to day 2. I've got my first video. Then I move on to the third page of notes, my second video, my third video, my fourth video, and finally my 5th video. So that took me a total of 4 complete pages in a spiral notebook. You should be taking about the same amount of notes for your 2 days of digital literacy learning this week. Now, in the future, you're going to have screencasts probably every single week. There's going to be something to learn. And you are welcome to always do that on this kind of a situation where it's just a spiral notebook. Or I want to show you a different option. I'm going to put in Schoology this Cornell Note template. So in Cornell Notes, what happens is you list your topic, your name, your date. That's all taken care of for you. And then the way that Cornell Notes are structured is that they ask you to ask questions as you are watching screencasts and then put the information over here. The reason for that is then you can pull this side over to here, ask yourself these questions, and cover up your answers for when you're studying for tests and things like that. It's actually a groovy technique. And then at the bottom of a Cornell Note document, there's always a place for you to put your summary. In other words, to summarize the information that you've read. If you like this format, then you can just use this and create digital notes for everything that you do. I'll show you what that might look like. You might remember that last semester we did a screencast on symbols. So this is what it looks like. Symbols can be, and then I list them. Symbols represent, and I list them. And then notice there's an example in the screencast. And so I write it down. And then I ask, why are symbols important? I write that information, etc. Notice I have another example. So every time there was an example in a screencast, I included it. And then I have my summary here at the bottom. So if you like this style of notes, you're welcome to use them. Frankly, you're welcome to use Cornell Notes style, even if you choose to use a spiral notebook, but you certainly don't have to. How you format your notes is completely and entirely up to you. But just to clarify, what I am looking for is the topic, your name, the date, and then I want all of the information in the screencast to somehow be captured on your notes. So either through a spirally notebook or through a digital experience. Now, one quick note about digital notes. I know that sometimes there is a temptation to share your notes with other kids. So maybe you would get together with 5 kids and you'd be like, I'll take notes this week, you take notes next week. We'll just run digital copies of them all and then we'll all turn them in. Trust me when I tell you, you will get caught. And when you do get caught, I will get very angry. So you'll get a 0 on that assignment. Everybody else involved will also get a 0 on that assignment. And then you will be forbidden from using digital notes from then on out. So you will have to have your notes handwritten, and then they'll need to be signed by a parent. You will need to have a conversation with an administrator and your mentor and your counselor. Everyone's going to know about it. You'll have to take the plagiarism course. Nobody wants that fate to befall you. So just be sure that when you're doing your notes that you are actually actively listening to the screencast, and then you are taking notes while you are listening to the screencast. And I think that wraps it up for us. So if you have any questions about how to take notes, please pop into my office hours or shoot me an email. Otherwise, I expect to see your notes in awesome format. And my hope is that that's going to really help you this semester to learn the content of my class a little bit more deeply. Thanks so much. Have a great week.